Hello. Today we're in the informative literary analytical writing packet, and we're going to look at essential question number 5. What kind of voice would be most effective for this form of writing? We are in the style section of the learning target packet, so please date style number 6, today's date. Style number 6 reads, to choose punctuation, words, and phrases for an effect. So we've talked about all of these notes before, but if you happen to not have them copied down, get them copied. The dash is a punctuation mark that's used to add emphasis, and it makes what's next to it stand out. The dash should not be confused with the hyphen. A hyphen is a little narrower, and a hyphen's used for to show the closeness between two words, like a compound hyphen complex sentence. That's different. A dash is a longer solid line. It's a little thicker. So the dash is not the same as the hyphen. The hyphen's a little narrower and is used to show a closeness between two words. But the dash can be used where commas are used, and it's used to add emphasis. So it makes what it's next to stand out. But it can be used just like a comma for extra information. So if you have a section with a comma that you're using for extra information, but you want that extra information to stand out, then use the dash. The other way you can use the dash is for like an abrupt stop or change. So like in dialogue or conversation, the person shifts to a different part and is like maybe cut off or abruptly stopped. You can use the dash for that as well. Coordinate adjectives are also a way that you could words and phrases for an effect. So coordinate adjectives add description. Obviously, remember, coordinate adjectives need to be able to flip-flop, which means when you have two adjectives back-to-back next to the noun, it needs to be able to go flip-flop. So creepy, eerie mood, eerie, creepy mood. It works both ways, which is why it's coordinates. It also could be checked by adding an and in between, which is what makes it coordinate. So in regards to punctuation for an effect, the best effect is that dash. It adds emphasis. Keep in mind that we have a few other marks we can use for punctuation. And I already have them on an other sheet here, as well as some more notes about when you use words for an effect. And I'll show you those too. This is in my old packet, so keep in mind that these notes, this numbered target was a little different back then, but it's still to choose punctuation, words, and phrases for an effect. Remember that effect is the why behind using a specific marker word. It creates a reason. That's to help create some sort of feeling or an effect in the audience or reader, or maybe a feeling or an effect in tone. So the effect could affect tone. It could also affect the mood. So if your goal is to influence the feeling the reader gets, it would affect the mood of the piece. If your goal by using the punctuation mark word or effect is to affect the speaker of the part of or the author who's writing it, it would be to affect the voice of the writing. That would be tone. So remember, we talked about the dash adds emphasis. Here's some other marks you can use. The parenthesis de-emphasizes. In other words, if you put something in parentheses, people tend to not read it. Sort of like up here where I put the definitions in parentheses to kind of set it backwards instead of forwards in the text. If I had used a dash, that would have set it forward and make it more easy to notice this than the rest of the learning target up there. We also talked briefly about exclamation points and how you don't want to use them too often or too many times because they're tacky and childish. So as we look at effect, we do want to create that connotation or that feeling in the reader by using specific punctuation marks, words, and phrases. So let's do some practice with this. Number 1. Read the sentence. Opening the door to the shed, I felt great surprise when I found a raccoon that was in a box filled with rags. Which revision of the sentence uses the most descriptive language? Because descriptive language is another way that you can create an effect in the writing. Is it A, opening the shed door, I was surprised to find a raccoon that was nestled in a box of rags? Is it B, When I put the door to the shed open, my heart raced because I discovered a raccoon nestled in a box of rags. Is it C? When I opened the shed door, my heart raced as I came face to face with a beady-eyed raccoon nestled in a box of rags? Or is it D? Pulling the door of the shed open, I was really, really surprised at the discovery of a beady-eyed raccoon in a box with a lot of rags. In this case, the sentence that adds the most descriptive language, thus creating an effect in the piece, is sentence C. Here's why. Within sentence C, we have the use of this descriptive language is heart raced, and we have the descriptive language beady-eyed, and then obviously the descriptive word nestled. So we have multiple, 1, 2, 3 different moments where we have strong description. Amid the others, they have a variation of these words, but not all 3 at once, which is why this one is the most descriptive choice. Let's try some punctuation for an effect. Read the sentences from a paragraph. While hot cereals like porridge and oatmeal have been popular in Europe for centuries, cold cereals that are packaged for quick and easy use are the invention of American entrepreneurs. Two such pioneers were Charles Post and W.K. Kellogg, whose companies were founded in Battle Creek, Michigan, known at one time as the capital of cereal production. Their companies developed several varieties such as cornflakes and crisp rice. Choose the correct way to punctuate sentence 2 to most effectively emphasize the underlined information. So we're looking at sentence 2 here in the underlined information. Is it A? Two such pioneers were Charles Post and W.K. Kellogg, whose companies were founded in Battle Creek, Michigan, known at one time as the capital of cereal production? Is it B? Two such pioneers were Charles Post and W.K. Kellogg, whose companies were founded in Battle Creek, Michigan, known at one time as the capital of cereal production? Is it C? Two such pioneers were Charles Post and W.K. Kellogg, whose companies were founded in Battle Creek, Michigan, known at one time as the capital of cereal production? Or is it D? Two such pioneers were Charles Post and W.K. Kellogg, whose companies were founded in Battle Creek, Michigan, known at one time as the capital of cereal production? Which one's correct? In this case, the correct answer is C. Here's why. Most effectively emphasize. We talk over and over again. Emphasize. The best punctuation mark to emphasize extra information is always the dash. That emphasizes. Notice how this choice uses the parentheses. We've talked multiple times that the parentheses de-emphasize information, which means it lowers, it doesn't emphasize, it actually does the opposite. I think the most common distractor is the quotation mark. However, the quotation mark is not the mark that's known for the emphasis. The only mark known for emphasis in writing, outside of the exclamation point, is the dash. So that's the one you want to pick if we're asking to effectively emphasize. We always go with the dash. So make sure that you're thinking of moments where you could use the dash instead of a comma, maybe to emphasize something. Think about your word choice and phrases that you're using within your analysis writing. How can you make it stronger and better as we prepare for publication and be creative with it? Not just for any old reason, but to create an effect in either the text itself and the voice coming off the page and tone, or an effect in the mood that the analysis piece gives to the audience and the reader. So think about that as you use punctuation, words, and phrases for an effect.